What's up guys, today I'm going to be playing Pokemon Emerald with Ash Ketchum's Pokemon. So basically Pokemon Ash used in the anime. I'm doing this specific game because I made a video a couple weeks ago about how Ash from Hoenn sucked. So yeah, let's get into it. We spawn into the game and go and pick our starter. Now Ash never had a Hoenn starter, but he did have a Trico, so we're going to go with Trico. Also, I'm going to be using a Game Shark making all the Pokemon shiny, just like a cool effect, just to see all the shiny sprites. Anyways, we save Professor Birch from Zigzagoon and make our way to battle May. She also has a shiny Torchic in this, by the way, which I don't know, it's pretty cool to see. We also learn Absorb, which is really good. It's our first grass type move, but anyways, after getting the Pokedex, we're off on our adventure. We talk to our dad in Petalburg City and meet Wally. We help Wally catch a shiny Ralts, which he gets to keep, by the way. And on Route 104, we catch our first Pokemon, a Tailo. I don't know, its shiny is really cool. I don't like a lot of green shinies, but Tailo shinies, I think it's really nice. We catch ourselves a Tailo, and boom, we have 2 of Ash's 6 Pokemon for the Hoenn region. I also caught this Ralts just because its shiny is really cool. I'm going to put it in my PC box because Ash was too dumb to catch a Ralts, but yeah. We make it to Rustboro City where we're going to fight the first gym leader. Our Pokemon are pretty decent leveled, and we have the type advantage with Trico, so I'm not that worried. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Now in the anime, Ash also uses a Trico, so let's see how it goes. Just like the anime, she leads with Geodude, and we one-hit knockout it. Our Trico gets to level 16 and we teach a Pursuit over Leer. And now we can't risk Trico dying because then we won't be able to get Grovyle on the leveling level. And I don't know if Grovyle is going to learn a move that like Leaf Blade at level 16 or not. Anyway, she goes for Nose Pass and she hits us with a Rock Tomb but misses. We're trying to bring her down with Absorb. Even with the type advantage, Rock Tomb and Absorb are doing the same amount of damage, kind of. Roxanne uses a potion, which I think is pretty cheap for the first gym leader to do, but whatever. She goes for a second potion too, which is insane. But Trico's hanging on there, so I'm not worried that much. We get her to the red zone and use Absorb to knock out Nose Pass. Trico levels up to level 17 and evolves into Grovyle. Now, I don't know if I lost the level 16 level up move, but I Google searched it and it's only Fury Cutter, so I'm not that concerned. We obviously didn't have to do the Team Aqua event off screen. I beat the Team Aqua Grunt to move on to the next gym and also get the Devon goods. I obtained a letter for Steven Stone, which I'll have to give later on, and I get the Pokénav. Now I think this next fight's completely optional, but I'm definitely gonna do it. It's basically us versus May for the first time since Little Root Town, so let's see how we do it. She leads with her Lotad, and I switch into Tailo for a wing attack. She goes for an Astonish, it doesn't do anything for our normal type, and we knock out Lotad. We also do the same for our Torchic and finally beat May. That was pretty easy, but the next May fight's probably going to be harder. We make our way to Driftwood City, and I think this gym's definitely going to be much more easier because we do have Tailo. Also, our dad calls us for no reason. I don't know how he got our Pokénav number, I just got the Pokénav, but whatever. We immediately challenge Brawly to a fight, and without any trouble knock out his Machop. His next Pokemon's Meditite, and this guy's out here using super potions, bro. But we still get the W. Speaking of dubs, we learn Double Team and switch out Focus Energy for Double Team. Now his next Pokemon's gonna be so hard. It's his Ace Makuhita. I'm super scared for this. Oh, we got a critical? Awesome. Well, okay then, don't mess with Tailo. After Tailo showed us it's the GOAT, I thought it was gonna evolve at level 20, but actually it evolves at level 22, so we don't get Swallow, but that's okay. We give the letter to Steven and head on over to Sailport. I have to give my Pokemon nicknames because for some reason the Game Shark code gives your Pokemon random names. So we're gonna name Grovyle Grassy and Tailo Wingy. Afterwards, we get Wingy to level 22, meaning it's gonna evolve into Swallow, our first fully evolved Pokemon. Now, I don't exactly know how many badges Ash has when he gets a Swallow, but I know he has one just in time for the battle with Venona. So having a Swallow right before the third gym, I think we're pretty far ahead Ash from the anime. So now we're ready to go and do the infamous May battle. I made the mistake of making Grovyle my first Pokemon because she leads with a Wingull, but in reality Grovyle is not going to be much help in this battle. This fight with May is probably the hardest fight with May you're going to have throughout your run, so I'm hoping to beat her here. I knock out her Wingull and one-shot her Combuskin, and she's bringing out Lombre. It's all pretty smooth sailing from here, since Swallow is super effective against Lombre. Afterwards we reach Mauville City and meet none other than Wally. I think outside the Victory Road, this is your only other fight with Wally, and it's pretty easy. He still only has a Ralts, and so we use Grovyle's Pursuit to knock it out in one hit. We also teach Grovyle Leaf Blade after a couple more trainers, and this is like his signature move. Afterwards, we give Watson a go. We knock out his first 2 Pokemon with ease. We start to struggle with Magneton getting paralyzed by Thunder Wave. That's the beginning of the end. We are eventually able to take out Magneton, but his stupid Magnetric keeps healing itself. And with Howl powering up its attack, it's able to knock out our Grovyle, leaving us with a type disadvantage with Wingy. Wingy barely hangs on, but it eventually is knocked out, and our HM mule Nilkata is the only one left, and obviously it kicks it too. I devise a new plan to take on Watson. I take out both Voltorb and Electrike with Leaf Blade, struggle a bit with Magneton, but I am able to beat him, and send in Wingy for Magnetric. Now you might be thinking I'm crazy, but I'm actually going to switch out Nincana to take the electric type attacks. Then I have to switch back into Wingy to take a normal type attack or Howl. However, this plan really fails because I'm not able to really deal damage without Wingy getting hurt. So I go for a wing attack and get paralyzed. I wish I went for Endeavor this turn, but I didn't, and then I have to switch into a Grovyle who's already paralyzed. I'm praying we don't lose here. Watson goes for a Howl while we go for Leaf Blade. I go for Leaf Blade again, but I'm paralyzed. Thank God he goes for Quick Attack. I tank it and go for Leaf Blade to finish him off. We got the 3rd gym badge. Now during this battle, I kind of messed up by calling in Nincana. I shouldn't have done that since Ash didn't use one on his team, but since it didn't really do anything, I'm going to give myself a pass here, but it won't happen again. I start going to the fiery path to catch myself a Torkoal. I encountered just about every Pokemon imaginable here, including a special rare primer that I never encountered in this spot. But then I realized these Pokemon aren't even coming up shiny, so I have to restart the game. After a quick reset, the very first Pokemon I encounter is a shiny Torkoal. I use Grovyle's Absorbs to get his health down and catch him in the very first Pokeball I throw. Ash's other Pokemon are locked behind Surf, so for the next 2 gyms, Torkoal, Grovyle, and Swallow is all we got. I renamed Torkoal Coley at the Name Raider and made my way to Meteor Falls for the Magma event. We head to Lava Ridge Town to challenge Flannery. Her Cantrop makes our Torkoal fall in love. I didn't realize her Cantrop was a female, but whatever. None of our Pokemon are male. And towards the end, it ends up being her Torkoal versus mine, and my Torkoal takes the L. At our second attempt, we get close, but our last standing Pokemon is Grovyle. And since it's super weak to fire-type moves, we lose. So I didn't record me winning against Flannery for some reason. I guess my screen recorder was off, but basically I kept using double team with Wingy, and her attacks just kept missing. Eventually Wingy did go down, but my Torkoal beat her Torkoal. And I won, so yeah. Greenie wanted to evolve in like the desert area because we got to level 36, so that was super cool. But since Ash never evolved his Grovyle into Sceptile, during the Hoenn region we didn't either. Next, we challenge our dad to a battle. Now in the anime, Ash doesn't have a dad, but in this game he does. And we have the same strategy, we just keep spamming double team. We do get confused by Tether Dance a couple times and hurt ourselves, but the strategy is working so far. I knock out Spinda, and Vigoroth knocks out my Swallow, so Grassy gets revenge for Swallow and knocks out Vigoroth. I go back to back and knock out Linoone, and his final Pokemon is Slaking. Now Slaking is incredibly bulky and heals itself with the berry. I have to switch out so Grovyle doesn't go to sleep and start spamming Body Slam with Coley. I eventually get Slaking paralyzed and use a Leaf Blade to put the nail in Slaking's coffin. And with that, we get the 5th gym badge and beat Ash's father, who's always been absent. Grovyle wants to evolve, but not on my watch. Later, we get Surf from Wally's dad, so now we can get the other Pokemon. I grabbed a good rod from this fisherman. Because I totally sucked at fishing, I had to grab a Gulpin for its sticky hold ability to help me fish. After catching it and confirming its ability, I begin to fish, and this fishing takes such a long time. I ran into so many Magikarp and Goldines, it's crazy. But eventually, we got ourselves a Quarfish. I just used Gulpin's Yawn because it was the first one in my party for sticky hold, and switch into Torkoal to take Quarfish's damage while I throw Pokeballs at it. The first Pokeball fails, and I'm super stressed because all I have is Great Balls left and 4 of them. But the second Pokeball I throw catches it, and we got our 4th team member. This egg I got from Lava Ridge began to hatch, and it was a why not. A pretty cool Pokemon. I thought you could only get it from Mirage Island, but since Ash never had one, I won't be using it. I also found a Thunderstone in the basement area, but since Pikachu never evolves into Raichu, I won't be using that either. I battle team Aqua at the Weather Institute, and Torkoal completely embarrasses me. Now if I was Paul instead of Ash, I would have abandoned Torkoal, but I won't be doing any of that. I receive a cast form that I won't be using because Ash never used a cast form, but I named it Casty anyways. On the other side of the bridge, we encounter May and completely crush her team without any difficulty or hesitation. May only has 3 Pokemon, which is super weak. We don't challenge Venona immediately and make our way to the Safari Zone. We get the Devon Scope from Steven and reach Lily Cove City. With the Pokecase, we can now enter the Safari Zone. It's here where we'll encounter our ace and number 1 Pokemon, Pikachu. It took me a while to get Pikachu. We kept encountering Oddishes and Giraffarigs, but since Ash never uses any of those, we had to flee. Eventually though, after a long time of searching, we finally encounter our Pika Pal. He escapes our first Pokeball, so I go for some Pokeblock just to realize I don't have any. So now I'm desperate, I only have Pokeballs left, but I'm lucky and I do catch our Pikachu. I'm just naming this guy Pikachu because Ash never gave his Pikachu a nickname, and now we have 5 out of our 6 Pokemon. This Pikachu's moveset was pretty trash, so I tried to buy Thunderbolt from the game counter, but didn't have enough money. Lucky for us, Pikachu was just 1 level away from learning Thunderbolt. And with that, we challenged Venona's gym. Now we get slapped pretty badly at this gym, with Venona's Altaria being really hard to beat. So I tried to buy Ice Beam from the game corner, but we still don't have enough money. So I began selling stuff in my bag. I also went to the underground ship and got Ice Beam from there, and then later on taught it to our core fish named Fishy. Then we challenge Venona for a 3rd time, or a 2nd time, I forget. We knock out her Swablu with Pikachu. We manage to get 1 Ice Beam off with Fishy. Then Altaria knocks out Fishy. And after Swallow gets knocked out, I just give up. But we retry with a new strategy. We use Pikachu to knock out her first Pokemon, then switch into Coley this time, trying to use Body Slam to paralyze Altaria. It's a pretty big gamble, seeing how Venona's charging up Dragon Dance. But we ended up getting Altaria paralyzed. Torkoal then gets knocked out and Fishy immediately gets knocked out too. Wingy finally gets the better of Altaria and takes the W. We make easy work of Tropigus and of Pelipper. In the final moments, Pikachu misses 2 Thunderbolts against Skarmory. I'm beginning to be nervous, but Pikachu ends up getting the W. And we're finally able to fly outside of battle. Fishy tries to evolve, but since Ash didn't evolve his Corphish, I'm not doing it. We challenge Tate and Liza to a battle. Our strategy is simple. Use Grovyle against Claydol and Pikachu against Xatu. Pikachu gets 1 Thunderbolt but then gets knocked out. So we send out Wingy to be immune to the Earthquakes, while Grovyle deals heavy damage with Leaf Blade. We get them down to just Soul Rock, and it's Soul Rock versus our Wingy to see who can win the match. Ultimately, Soul Rock beats us. I go for it again with kind of the same strategy, but now that I know how they're gonna battle, I kind of have an idea of how it's gonna go. I Thunderbolt, Xatu, and Leaf Blade Claydol. Pikachu falls to a Leaf Blade, and it just had to be a critical hit. I knew an Earthquake was coming, so Wingy had to be deployed. It did minimal damage to Grovyle. We used the Leaf Blade to get rid of Claydol, and this time they sent out Soul Rock. Well, Wingy keeps using Double Team. Grovyle is gonna keep spamming Leaf Blade to try to get rid of Soul Rock as soon as possible, and try to take advantage of the sunny day he's gonna set up. My first Leaf Blade does decent damage, and now I'm hoping they don't use a potion. I'm able to go for a second Leaf Blade and knock out the Soul Rock. With the hardest Pokemon out of the way, this battle is going to be easy, but you just never know. I start using Leaf Blade against Lunatone, and Wingy gets knocked out. I send out Fishy for some Surf action, but it instantly gets KO'd. So now it all depends on Coley and Grassy. They Hyper Potion Xatu, while I knock out Lunatone. Coley also learns Iron Defense, and I switch it in for Protect. I managed to burn Xatu with Flamethrower, and Grassy almost gets knocked out with Psychic, but Coley comes through with Flamethrower, giving us the win. We now have to save Hoenn from Team Aqua and Team Magma's mess, so we tell Rayquaza to go control his homies. Afterwards, we went and challenged Juan for the last gym badge. Now I'll be honest, I lost 2 times off screen, but that's because I didn't read he was bringing in Celio. So I switched into Grovyle and immediately lost one of my good attackers. Anyways, his Loveless barely survives and he uses a Hyper Potion, but I knock it out anyways with Thunderbolt. Then he tries to switch into Whiscash, but I switch into Grassy, Uno reversing him, and 1 hit knocking out Whiscash with Leaf Blade. This time, I do send out Pikachu against Celio, and use 2 Thunderbolts, knocking it out in the process. Grassy tags in for Crawdaunt, and I 1 hit knockout with Leaf Blade. Now, Juan only has 1 Pokemon left. I switch into Pikachu, but Pikachu loses to an Ice Beam. Now you might think I'm crazy to switch into Coley, but I'm trying to get him paralyzed with Body Slam. Luckily, this does happen on the second Body Slam, and I send out Grassy after Coley gets knocked out. Now, all I have to do is keep spamming Leaf Blade. Luckily, Grassy survived an Ice Beam, and I used a Leaf Blade to knock out Kingdra, giving us the 8th and final badge. Because Shoal Cave was still in high tide, and we couldn't get Snow Run, I went ahead and did battle with Wally. I really did want a full team for this battle, but I guess it just wasn't in the cards. I got lucky because Fishy was our first Pokemon and he sent out Altaria, so we used our Ice Beam. Unfortunately though, he used Dragon Breath and Fishy got paralyzed and we lost a turn. Fishy hung on though and was able to win with the Ice Beam, really coming in clutch there. He sends out Magneton, so I send out Wally. He hits us with a Supersonic and we become confused and hurt ourselves, and I switch up before we can do any more damage. I switch into Pikachu because I think an electric type attack is coming, and I was right, but Thunderbolt does a lot of damage to Pikachu. I switch Wally back in and get hit with another Thunderbolt. I can't believe this guy got 3 turns for free back to back. Wally hangs in there and one-shots the Magneton. He sends out a Delcatty, so we send out Grassy for a Leaf Blade. It does decent damage, but isn't able to one-shot it. After Delcatty, he sends in his Roselia, and so we send in Wingy. We use an Aerial Ace to one-shot Roselia, and since Gardevoir is his starter, we send out Grassy for a starter versus starter match. He starts off with Future Sight while we start off with Leaf Blade, but end up falling to a Psychic on the second turn. We paralyze Gardevoir with Thunder Wave and lose Pikachu, and Wingy's really the only Pokemon we have left. We go for Fly. He uses Future Sight, but he probably didn't see this Fly coming. We take the W over Wally and put an end to his career. We also do this long overdue battle with May. I really wanted to wait until we had a full team of 6 to do this battle, but it doesn't really matter because May only has 4 Pokemon anyways, and we're incredibly over leveled for this fight. As you could imagine, we just sweep her team. I mean, she standed no chance against us. I think our team is ready for the Elite Four. So I accidentally deleted the footage of me catching Snorunt, evolving it into a Galili, and battling the first 3 Elite Fours. Unfortunately, because I am filming off my iPhone, I don't have a lot of storage, so I do have to consistently delete a lot of the raw footage after I make the final product video, and this time I just deleted the final product of me catching Snorunt, evolving it into Galili, and battling the first 3 Elite Fours. Unfortunately, there isn't much I can do about this. I don't want you guys to think I cheated or anything like that. Fighting the Elite Four was hard, but yeah, I can't really do anything about those 3 fights, so let's move on from that. Alright, so we're gonna battle Drake now, and Ash actually battles Drake in the anime, which is pretty cool. We set up with X attacks and X speeds on Galili, while he just spams Protect with his Shelgon. Now we have to be very careful because he does use Rock Tomb, and that slows our speed, which is a problem because Salamence and Flygon know Flamethrower, and they're both faster than Galili. We managed to knock out Shelgon with 1 hit. We also gave our Shell Bell to Galili, which allows us to heal after knocking out each of his Pokemon. We're able to one-shot all of his Pokemon because they're flying and Dragon types, except for Kingdra. We have to be very careful of his Kingdra because he uses Dragon Dance, and once he sets up 2 to 3 Dragon Dances, it's all over. We were so close to knocking it out with Grovyle, but he used a full restore. Not only that, but we missed our second Leaf Blade. We went for Leaf Blade once again, and with 11 health left, we knocked out his Kingdra, winning the match. Grovyle came through. I completely healed my Pokemon in between fights, and now I'm challenging the champion. This is it. Can Ash's team beat the Hoenn region? This last fight stands between us and victory. We send out Pikachu against Wailord and go for Broke with Thunder. After surviving one of its moves, we go for Pikachu's signature Thunderbolt, and with that we knock out his first Pokemon. He sends out Gyarados for some reason, even though it's 4x weak to Pikachu, but our attack stat is lowered, so we go for Thunder. I'm hoping for a one-shot against his Gyarados, and I get it. Next he tries to send out Whiscash, so naturally I switch into Grassy. I'm hoping to one-shot Whiscash with Leaf Blade, and can you believe it survived that? Naturally he goes for a full restore, which fully heals his Whiscash, but we go for back-to-back Leaf Blades and get the win. 3 Pokemon down, 2 to go. His next Pokemon is his ace, Milotic. We managed to paralyze it with Pikachu, but Pikachu gets sacrificed. With Recover, Milotic is crazy, but our Leaf Blades are super effective. I'm just hoping for a critical hit before it can hit me with that Ice Beam. We keep spamming Leaf Blades and even get hit with Ice Beam, but Grovyle survives and deals the final shot to Milotic. He also has a Tentacruel, which is crazy. Leaf Blade's not going to do much against it, so I switch into Snowy. I taught Snowy Earthquake, so I'm hoping it deals major damage. We take about half of Tentacruel's HP, survive Hydro Pump, and deal the finishing blow. He's down to his last Pokemon, so we switch into Wingy. Wingy is super effective against the grass type Ludicolo, so I immediately set up for Double Team, hoping to lower its accuracy enough where I don't get damaged. However, he thinks the same. After 3 double teams, I use Aerial Ace, a move that I cannot miss. And after going back to back with Aerial Ace, I deal the finishing blow not only to Ludicolo, not only to Volus, but the Hoenn League itself. And with that, Ash wins. I let Grassy evolve into Sceptile after denying its natural evolution for so long. After getting my Sceptile, I get congratulated by May and Professor Birch naturally, and do something Ash never did in the anime. Enter the Hoenn Hall of Fame. This was a week-long project and I had a lot of fun making it, and although I lost that one video unfortunately because I accidentally deleted it, I really enjoyed answering the question if Ash's Hoenn team could beat Emerald. Now by no means is this team any good. In fact, I struggled to beat the Elite Four, and sometimes even gym leaders. It didn't help that half of Ash's team was locked behind Surf, and he didn't fully evolve his Grovyle into Sceptile until after the Hoenn League. Gyms I struggled against include Watson in Mauville, Flannery in Lava Ridge Town, Winona in Four Trees City, Tate and Liza. As for the Elite Four, I struggled against all of the Elite Fours except Sydney and Drake, and I forget her name, but the Ice type Elite Four was definitely hard. As for the champion Wallace, it was easy at times, but his Milotic is crazy hard to beat. As for Ash's team, I'd definitely not go with Torkoal. I would normally build my team around Blaziken and try for a decent water type and decent grass type because this region has those in abundance. And go for Altaria, Skarmory, or even Salamence above Tailo. But his Pokemon that did do really well are Pikachu, Swallow, Glalie, Grovyle, and surprisingly even Torkoal did decent. The only Pokemon that was kind of dead weight was Corphish. This guy did not help at all, and it would have been better if Ash took advantage of the Hoenn region's abundance in water types and picked those instead, or at least evolve Corphish into Crawdont. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.